Early morning, the house is, it's completely dark, just starting to stir.
Right.
Maybe a single floorboard creaks upstairs, or the coffee maker automatically clicks on in the kitchen,
Mm,
or maybe a phone alarm vibrates just like a single time on a nightstand.
yeah, just that tiny sound.
Exactly. And downstairs, a German short-haired pointer hears it. Instantly, she is awake.
Wide awake.
Right, her eyes are bright, her body is just entirely ready for action. Outside, there's a whole world waiting. Scents, birds, weather, shifting barometric pressure, motion.
Oh, yeah, all of it.
But inside, it's about to be, breakfast, school bags, work calls, kids getting dressed, maybe a family cat walking by.
Which is quite the contrast.
Right. So today's deep dive is all about navigating that exact gap. We are taking a massive stack of source material, behavioral research papers, breed standard documents dating back a century, and thousands of pages of veterinary logs and owner journals.
There's a lot of data.
It is, and we're using it to unpack the daily reality of living with this breed. We're exploring the divide between the German Shorthaired Pointer's origins as a tireless field dog and its modern reality in an everyday family home.
Yeah.
So if you are sitting there wondering how to bridge the gap between a working animal's deep-rooted genetics and our modern indoor lives, well, this analysis is entirely for you.
The tension between those two environments is, it's profound. That early morning wake-up you just described, it can go one of two vastly different ways.
Okay.
And the outcome depends entirely on the human holding the leash. The behavioral logs we reviewed paint two distinct realities for the exact same animal. Let's look at the unstructured version first.
Let's do it.
So the morning begins with no routine, right? No dedicated time for scent work, no training outlet.
Just kind of winging it.
Exactly. The dog is granted far too much freedom too soon in the house, which is then, inevitably followed by long, lonely stretches of the day with zero mental engagement.
And I imagine that doesn't go well.
The biological result of that is chaos. We see pulling on the leash, counter-surfing, nuisance barking, destructive chewing, and calculated escapes.
Wow.
Yeah, it creates a state of profound mutual frustration where the human feels like they're failing and the dog is essentially climbing the walls.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because having an unstructured German short-haired pointer is it's like buying a high-performance manual transmission sports car and only ever driving it in bumper-to-bumper school zone traffic.
That is a brilliant way to look at it.
Right, like the machine isn't broken. You can't be angry at a sports car for wanting to go fast. The environment is just starving it of its purpose.
Absolutely.
It wants to run, and you're keeping it locked in first gear. And eventually, if you keep revving an engine in neutral, you are going to blow the transmission.
Right, something
Yeah.
has to give. But when we look at the second version of that warning from our sources, the picture shifts completely.
Because it's the exact same dog.
Exactly. The genetics haven't changed. The temperament hasn't changed. But in this version, the dog gets a framework. And that framework reshapes the dog's entire physiological state.
So what does that look like?
Well, in the second version of the morning, she gets significant physical movement. But more importantly, she gets time to actively use her olfactory system.
Okay, her nose.
Right. There's targeted training, designated safe rest, recall practice, and very consistent family rules.
So she still has all that energy.
Oh, she still possesses that intense well of energy, but now that energy has a productive conduit. What's fascinating here is a specific phrase that repeatedly pops up in the breed literature.
Oh, the houseplant one.
Yes. The German Shorthaired Pointer is absolutely not a houseplant with spots.
I love that quote so much.
It's so accurate. These are working athletes bred in 19th century Germany to be the ultimate versatile hunting companion.
Right, they were literally engineered to point, retrieve, track, and work tirelessly in water and thick brush alongside a human.
Yes. And that underlying working breed mentality, it doesn't just evaporate the moment they cross the threshold of your mudroom. They require active participation in the family system.
Well, so if they're carrying around this internal reactor of energy, and they desperately need a productive conduit for it, we have to look closely at their physical environment.
Right. The space they live in.
Yeah, and I want to push back on a massive assumption that plagues, a lot of dog owners.
So for it.
If I'm dealing with a dog that has this much stamina, isn't tossing them into a massive fenced-in backyard the ultimate foolproof solution?
You'd think so, right?
I mean, it seems logical.
Yeah.
If space is the ultimate currency for a working athlete, Why would an apartment ever be considered a viable environment over a huge suburban yard?
Well, the sources categorize that specific assumption as the yard fallacy.
The yours fallacy. Okay.
Yeah, because a large yard provides physical space, but space intrinsically lacks purpose. When you leave a highly intelligent working breed dog alone in a giant yard, their brain does not tell them to peacefully trot in circles to burn off calories for you.
They're not doing a workout routine.
Exactly. Their genetics dictate that they must have a job. And in the absence of a human-directed job, they will invent their own.
And I'm guessing the jobs a bored working dog invents are never the jobs you want them doing. Like, they aren't going to weed the garden for you.
They absolutely won't. The behavioral logs show their self-appointed jobs usually involve excavating massive holes, aggressively patrolling the fence line,
Barking at the wind.
barking at the wind, or hunting every single squirrel, bird, or insect that wanders into their territory. We have to remember the intensity of their prey drive and scent tracking capabilities.
Right.
We aren't dealing with a dog that might casually wander off if the gate is left open. We're dealing with an animal possessing enough motivation to calculate a real escape attempt if they catch an interesting scent on the breeze.
Which is terrifying, so fences need to be intense.
Fencing must be incredibly secure, and even then, a yard is merely a holding area. It's a helpful tool for bathroom breaks, sure, but it's entirely useless as a substitute for actual, focused engagement from the human.
Which makes the apartment paradox so illuminating.
Yes.
The source material suggests something that sounds completely counterintuitive at first glance. If you are listening to this in a 700 square foot apartment, you might feel a pang of guilt.
Thinking you could never ethically own a dog like this.
Exactly. But the research argues an apartment setup can actually be highly successful for a GSP, and it succeeds specifically because the environment forces structure.
It forces you to be involved.
Right. When you live on the fourth floor, you don't have a yard to lazily fall back on. You can't just slide open a glass door in your pajamas and hope the dog tires itself out.
No, you can't. The restriction of space demands absolute intentionality.
Yeah.
Apartment living with a versatile hunting dog means the owner is fundamentally required to provide planned, meaningful exercise. It demands dedicated mental work.
And leash skills, right?
Oh, absolutely. You must develop incredibly solid leash handling skills because you are navigating tight physical spaces, hallways, elevators, crowded sidewalks.
All while managing a dog reacting to city wildlife and heavy traffic.
Exactly. And the owner has to be meticulous about alone time training to prevent noise complaints. It requires immense daily effort, but it works precisely because the human is forced into active partnership with the dog every single time they leave the front door.
That concept of partnership completely redefines how they view exercise. The breed experts make a brilliant distinction about how a GSP processes a walk.
Oh, this is a great point.
When you leash them up, they aren't looking up at you asking how far are we going, they are looking at you asking what are we doing together.
Exactly. A standard neighborhood walk is almost useless for a breed engineered for all-day stamina.
Just a leisurely stroll won't cut it.
A leisurely stroll does not spike their heart rate, nor does it engage their mind. To fulfill their biological needs, they require running, technical hiking, swimming, and retrieving.
They need actual tasks.
They need complex scent games and obedience commands woven directly into the activity. Like, if you hide a toy in the brush and ask them to find it, you are engaging their olfactory cortex and satisfying their genetic drive to hunt cooperatively.
So the physical environment, whether it's a high-rise apartment or a sprawling 50-acre farm, is largely irrelevant compared to the depth of the purpose you provide within that environment.
Exactly.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, because if the dog applies that cooperative, intense drive to the physical space around them, it changes how we look at the actual living beings sharing that space.
Right, the family.
Yeah, a German Shorthaired Pointer playing with small kids is like a friendly professional linebacker offering a hug.
That is exactly what it's like.
There is zero malicious intent. They are just thrilled you're part of their pack, but the laws of physics still apply. They have a high center of gravity, incredible momentum, and someone small is inevitably going down.
The physics of joy in a working dog are formidable. The behavioral literature is clear regarding family dynamics. These dogs are deeply bonded, fiercely loyal, and remarkably affectionate.
Which is why people love them so much.
That intense connection is why they are so beloved. However, managing that bouncy, fast-twitch muscle energy around small children requires strict boundaries.
Like what kind of boundaries?
The behavioral guidelines dictate absolutely no games that reward chasing or jumping. The mechanism behind this is important. When a child runs screaming and waving their arms, it triggers the dog's prey sequence.
Oh, wow.
It floods their brain with dopamine, winding them up into an overstimulated state that is very difficult to de-escalate.
So you are basically turning your toddler into a human lore course.
Precisely. Children can and should be involved in calm, structured training to build a bond, but chaotic wind-up play is entirely off the table.
That makes total sense.
Furthermore, adults managing the household must fiercely protect the dog's resources. Food, high-value toys, and sleep must be respected.
They need a safe space.
The dog absolutely must have a designated, safe rest space they can retreat to when the household noise becomes overwhelming, and the children must be taught that this space is completely off-limits.
So if that's the dynamic with the human members of the pack, how does that intense physical energy translate to other animals? Like bringing this athletic linebacker into a house that already has another dog or a resident cat seems like a complex logistical puzzle.
It is. When integrating with other dogs, understanding canine playstyles is vital. GSPs play incredibly fast, they're highly physical, and they engage with a level of intensity that can be overwhelming.
So they play rough.
They do.
Yeah.
They genuinely enjoy the company of their own species. But a senior retriever or a small terrier is not going to appreciate being body slammed at 30 miles an hour during a game of tag.
Right. I wouldn't appreciate that either.
Introductions must be systematic and closely managed. Dog parks, contrary to popular belief, are often a terrible outlet for them.
Wait, really? Dog parks are bad.
Very often, yes. They can easily overwhelm other dogs or adopt a hyper-vigilant patrol mentality in that chaotic environment. And the dynamic with cats and small pets requires absolute honesty about their genetics.
Because we're talking about an animal specifically bred for over 100 years to locate, point, and retrieve small game. The prey drive isn't a flaw, it's a feature.
Exactly. Living with cats is sometimes possible, but the behavioral consensus stresses it relies on highly specific individual temperament matching, extremely early exposure during puppyhood, constant supervision.
Vertical space, right.
Yes, ensuring the cat has vertical escape routes in every single room. The overarching rule is that you can never allow chase behavior to be rehearsed.
Because once they start chasing, they don't stop.
A GSP might be cuddled gently on your couch, but if a cat suddenly bolts across the room, thousands of years of predatory instinct can override their training in a microsecond.
Wow.
But this is where their specific breeding offers a solution. They are bred to point. The point is a genetic freeze in the predatory sequence.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right. Skilled owners capture and reward that freeze, teaching the dog that pointing at the cat earns a reward, whereas chasing ends the game.
That's a great workaround. What about smaller pets?
As for smaller pets like rabbits, guinea pigs, or birds, the veterinary and behavioral logs are unambiguous. They require serious, non-negotiable physical barriers. A sweet disposition with humans does not negate the instinct to dispatch a small, fluttering animal.
Well, the intensity of their connection to their human family makes the modern reality of human schedules quite jarring. We've established how deeply they crave partnership and how completely they integrate into the family system.
Right.
So, considering this constant need for management, structure, and cooperative connection, is it fundamentally irresponsible for a first-time dog owner to bring a German Shorthaired Pointer into their life?
This raises an important question that the breed standard organizations address directly. The consensus is that a German Shorthaired Pointer can absolutely be a first dog, but she cannot, under any circumstances, be an accidental project.
An accidental project being someone who buys the dog based purely on aesthetics.
Exactly.
Like they see this sleek, muscular, regal animal on social media and bring it home without a single thought given to the behavioral plumbing underneath.
The literature warns that mistakes with a highly intelligent, high-drive dog snowball with terrifying speed. These dogs possess incredible synaptic plasticity. I mean, they learn fast.
So they pick up bad habits just as quickly as good ones.
Oh, faster. If a novice owner ignores early signs of boredom, fails to proof a solid recall command, or allows predatory chasing to go unchecked off-leash, the dog will learn that those behaviors are rewarding in a single repetition.
Just one time is all it takes.
Yep. Minor hiccups quickly solidify into major entrenched behavioral issues. However, an active, committed first-time owner can thrive if they approach it as a lifestyle change. Seeking professional training support early in the puppy's life isn't a sign of failure, it is mandatory preparation.
And preparation becomes vital when we hit the alone time dilemma. We establish they aren't spotted houseplants, they are intensely people-oriented workers.
Yes.
But the reality of modern life is that most owners have jobs, errands, and obligations that require leaving the house for 8 or 10 hours a day.
And leaving a working breed alone for long hours without prior significant enrichment is a recipe for psychological distress.
It's not just that they're sad you're gone.
No, when you leave a highly energized, intelligent dog in a quiet house without draining their physical and mental reserves first, they don't just feel sad. Their nervous system becomes fundamentally dysregulated.
That sounds intense.
It is. The veterinary logs heavily document the consequences. We're talking severe destruction of furniture and baseboards, obsessive pacing, constant nuisance barking, and profound separation anxiety.
Knowing that, how does an owner with a standard 40-hour work week actually navigate this without ruining the dog's mental health?
Teaching alone time requires careful, deliberate conditioning to downregulate their sympathetic nervous system.
So practicing it.
Exactly. The process involves micro-exposures to absence. You introduce a crate or a secure pen using highly positive reinforcement, creating a designated den where they feel safe settling down.
Like their own little room.
Right. You practice leaving for 2 minutes, then 5, then 20, rewiring their brain to understand that your absence is safe and temporary, not a state of emergency.
And for a full workday.
Practically speaking, if an owner works long hours away from the home, relying on a trusted dog walker or a carefully vetted daycare a few days a week is essential. You must actively outsource their social and physical needs to bridge the gap while you are gone.
Managing the mind and the nervous system is a huge undertaking, but that active lifestyle invariably leaves physical evidence. Let's look at the muddy reality of maintenance.
Oh, yes, the mud.
Because a lot of people glance at that short, sleek, aerodynamic coat and think, excellent, a low-maintenance dog.
They do think that.
But grooming a GSP isn't like delicately brushing out a fluffy show poodle. It's like detailing an off-road vehicle after a brutal mud rally.
The grooming guides affectionately refer to it as adventure cleanup.
Adventure cleanup. I love that.
The genetics of their coat are fascinating. They possess a dense, harsh, water-repellent coat designed to protect them from icy water and tearing briars in the field.
Tough.
Very. And while they don't require complicated trimming or frequent baths, they shed profusely. Those short, stiff hairs act like tiny needles.
Oh!
They weave themselves permanently into upholstery, clothing fabrics, and car seats. It isn't hair that casually rolls off a lint roller. It embeds itself structurally into the fabric of your life.
It's structural shedding. It practically becomes part of the couch's load-bearing capacity.
Exactly. The real grooming routine is entirely dictated by maintaining an athlete. It is dealing with mud, swamp water, and wet fur on a daily basis.
So it's more about health checks than aesthetics.
Way more. It involves systematically running your hands over their body after a hike to check for ticks and burrs. It requires thoroughly drying out their drop ears after every swim to prevent fungal infections.
Right, because of the floppy ears.
Yes, and it means closely inspecting their paw pads for abrasions after they've been sprinting through dense brush. The grooming is intrinsically linked to the environments they thrive in.
And the biomechanics of how they move bleed directly into how you have to set up your home and how you travel.
Yeah.
The house doesn't need to be aesthetically perfect, but the sources emphasize it must be prepared for motion.
Prepared for motion, yes.
Like you need non-slip surfaces on hard floors because a 50-pound dog taking a corner at top speed in a hallway can easily tear a cranial cruciate ligament if they lose traction.
It happens so fast.
Right. You need sturdy, safe baby gates. You must implement extremely secure storage for anything toxic medications, cleaning supplies, chocolate, because an intelligent, bored dog with high dexterity will absolutely figure out how to pry open a lower cabinet.
Oh, they will absolutely open those cabinets. And taking that motion on the road introduces another layer of management.
Road trips.
They are excellent travel companions because they are desperate to be with you. But travel requires stringent rules. You must enforce calm entry and exit protocols from the vehicle.
So no jumping right out.
If you simply throw open the tailgate of an SUV and let a GSP explode into a new environment, they will instantly hit a state of overstimulation.
Because it's all new sense.
Exactly. Owners have to plan for adequate shade, hydration, and most importantly, strict leash and recall discipline in unfamiliar places. A new environment is a sensory explosion of novel scents and wildlife, and their instinct is to immediately catalog and hunt that new territory.
So we are looking at an animal that demands time, constant motion, vigilant attention, rigid consistency, and a very real financial commitment to high-quality nutrition, veterinary care, secure fencing, long-line leashes, and professional training.
It's a lot.
So what does this all mean? When you synthesize everything we've pulled from these behavioral logs and breed histories, who emerges as the absolute ideal owner for this dog?
The comprehensive profile of the ideal owner defies a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah.
They do not have to be an active hunter. They don't even need to be a competitive marathon runner. The defining characteristic is someone who genuinely finds joy in daily intentional activity.
They just have to like doing things.
Right. The perfect owner views training not as a burdensome chore to get through, but as a fun, deeply engaging shared activity.
Mm.
It is someone who desires a dog that is intricately involved in the daily rhythm of their life, and crucially, someone who fundamentally respects the working dog engine operating inside the breed.
And the unideal owner is equally clear.
Oh, very clear.
It is someone looking for a low-energy, decorative companion. It is someone who works 12-hour days with absolutely no support plan in place for the animal. Or it's someone who expects a large, empty backyard to do the heavy lifting of ownership for them.
Absolutely.
But the sources highlight that this massive investment pays off over the dog's life stages. If you put in the grueling work, you survive the needle-teethed intensity of puppyhood.
Which is an intense phase.
Oh, for sure. You navigate the boundary-pushing, testing phase of adolescence. And your reward is an extraordinary, intuitively connected adulthood and a steady, beautiful senior chapter.
Yes.
Tracking their health metrics, managing their joint care, and adapting their exercise throughout those life stages is a critical piece of honoring that lifelong commitment.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we spent centuries genetically engineering this animal to work tirelessly all day alongside humans in the harshest environments.
Right, centuries of fine-tuning.
We selectively bred them to notice every minute shift in scent, to react instantly to sudden movement, and to possess endless, unyielding stamina. And now, we take that finely tuned, purpose-built machine and place it in modern, indoor, largely sedentary lives.
It's a total mismatch.
It is. When a German Shorthaired Pointer acts out when they shred the baseboards or scale a 6-foot fence, they aren't actually misbehaving. They're simply answering an ancient call in the wrong century. It forces us to ask a larger question. Looking at our own human behaviors, our own anxieties and restlessness, are there other areas in our modern lives where we are actively punishing a natural instinct simply because it doesn't fit neatly into our current indoor environment?
That is a deeply fascinating thought to sit with. Whether you are looking at the dog at the end of the leash or the reflection in the mirror, sometimes the energy isn't the problem at all. It's the container we forced it into.
Exactly.
Thank you for diving into the sources with us today. Keep questioning the world around you, and tomorrow morning when that floorboard creaks and the coffee maker clicks on, take a moment to think about what instincts are waking up alongside you. Take care.